Hello, my name is Shakir Çınkır. I am an associate professor doctor at Ankara University at the Department of Educational Management and Policy. I am taking part in WISET project as an associate partner on behalf of International Lifelong Learning Association. In this video, I'll make a short presentation about the social and civic competencies module we developed within the scope of the project. We think that the presentation will contribute to the improvement of the knowledge, skills, and competencies of the women social entrepreneurs in social and civic competency. Let's start then. WISET, Women in Social Enterprise Development, innovative tools for women empowerment in the social enterprise context. Social and civic competencies. Social and civic competency module composed of 4 main sections: taking care of oneself, understanding culture, managing human relationship in social enterprise, and problem solving and decision making in social enterprise context. Social and civic competencies are core skills and basic needs to live in 21st century society. So what does it consist of? In total, it consists of 12 sub-competencies. These are ability to relate well to the others, civic literacy, global mindedness, social and cultural awareness, collaboration, personal well-being, dialogue, personal and citizen well-development, working well with juniors, seniors, and people from different culture, good interpersonal relationship, political and legal society, and final knowledge and critical understanding of the world. Each section of the module composed by 4 parts. These are focus. The first part led you to the focus on the issue by an analysis of the section keywords and by an explorative short text. Second is the delve into. The third, surfing, and the test. At the end of each section, you will see the focus, delve into, surf, and test, mainly trying to help you in the module. And we also have some inspiration sections. As I mentioned earlier, civic and social competency module composed of 4 sections. The structure of the module is Section 1, taking care of oneself. Section 2, understanding culture. Section 3, managing human relationship in social enterprise. Section 4, problem solving and decision making in social enterprise context. Section 1, taking care of oneself. The goal of Section 1 is to understand how personal health relates to society, to comprehend the necessity of mental health, to learn the basic ways to maintain health, to sense when oneself needs support and tend to themselves, to learn what stress is, to understand who or what is affected by stress, to learn the reasons behind stress, to understand the importance of learning to cope with stress, to learn the ways of coping with stress. In this section, Unit 1, maintaining physical and mental health, is the first section of the model. To live in a social environment gives a people a lot of responsibilities, and healthcare is one of them. The key word here is the health. Health is defined as the condition of the body and the degree to which it is free from illness or state of well-being. Avoiding contagious diseases make provisions against them is necessary not only for an individual but also for the society. As in the title, you will see the health can be physical health and mental health. When we come to physical health, the condition of the body and the degree to which it is free from illness or the state of being well. Physical health involves having a sound, disease-free body with good cardiovascular performance, sharp senses, a vital immune system, and the ability to withstand physical injuries. On the other hand, mental health is the condition of someone's mind and whether or not they are suffering from any mental illness. It is generally taken for granted and mental health problems are mostly underestimated. Mental treatments are generally considered as unnecessary or luxury. Regular checkups are nowadays suggested for mental health. And finally, to sum up, to keep physical and mental health below are the crucial and must be habit for any individual working in an organization as well as outside organizations. What are these? Regular checkups, mental and physical, exercising regularly, drinking enough water, eating enough nutrition, and taking break. These are the necessary elements of the mental and physical health for individuals working in and outside organizations. In this section, there are also a collection of movies, short videos, songs, etc. we like to recommend to you. Physical and mental health is the key of life. Therefore, you will find a useful video link clicking here on the module we developed and designed for you. Unit 2, coping with stress and frustration. It is not just what we carry in our minds, but it is about how long we carry it that causes stress. Here's the key word, stress is the great worry caused by a difficult situation or something that causes this condition. With 80% of employees facing work-related stress, growing amount of job quitting because of stress, and ascending amounts of stress generating by generation, researchers showed that instead of mindfulness, stress management is a better coping mechanism. Mindfulness is the practice of being aware of your body, mind, and feelings in the present moment. Taught to create a feeling of calm and to be mindful at job, you need to be aware of the environment you are in, as Competencies stated in his mindfulness strategy. So, when we are talking about the stress, so there are some signs of stress. What are these? How can we recognize the signs of a stress? So there are three kinds of the indicators and the signs for basic stress. These are the feelings, like the anxious, being anxious, nervous, or afraid of something, or unable to enjoy yourself. And some sort of behaviors, finding it hard to make decisions, biting your nails, or snapping at people. As well as physical sensations, here problems getting to sleep, staying asleep, or having nightmares. Muscle tension, you might have a panic attack. These are the main signs of stress. In this section, again, a collection of movies and short videos, songs, etc. are provided to help you to understand better this module. The sooner the stress is coped, the better. The more stress is pent up, the more harmful, destructive effects of it became. Again, you will find how to handle stress without putting lots of pressure on you. At the end of each section, we have practical exercises, some inspirations, and closed and open-ended questions for you to understand the module in depth. Section 2, Understanding Culture. The aim of this section is to grasp the concept of culture. What's culture? To understand the necessity of diversity, to understand that it's okay to have different understanding of ethics, to learn the possibility of universal ethics codes, the sense of necessity of diversity, understanding importance and benefits of equal representation, to learn to provide diversity. Managing diversity and managing culture differences is very important for the managers of the organization as well as for the employee working in organization from different culture backgrounds. Unit 1, Understanding Code of Conducts in Different Cultures. So the main topic for understanding code of conduct is the ethic. Ethic is the study of what is morally right and wrong, or a set of beliefs about what is morally right and wrong. Even in the same continent, region, or the city, code of conduct understanding varies according to culture, and there is no guidelines for that. There are different definitions of the culture. The main different definition of the culture can be the collective programming of minds that distinguishes members of one group, even a country, or a group of the people from another, and it is a unique character of social groups, and these are shared and followed by the member of the organization and the group itself. Although the society that we live in now, named as a global village, we still realize our insignificant differences, and it is also reflected on our workplace and work ethics. Again, in this section, there are collections of movies, short videos that may help you to understand the module in detail. National culture is meaningfully related to the organizational culture, but not as strongly as often been claimed. Understanding and managing diversity. So managing diversity and managing cultural differences is the key important issue for the managers of the organization as well as for the employees. Diversity is the fact or many different types of things or people being included in something, a range of different things or people. Social acceptance is defined by researchers as psychological inclusion of minorities as group numbers and the presence of an egalitarian atmosphere within an organization. The types of diversity can be ethical, linguistic, religious, age-related, gender or sexual orientation-based, or appearance, or the food, and they could be in different versions. Diverse groups are mostly not represented in organization. That's why the supporting and empowering people from ethnic minorities is very important. To sum up, for a healthy and diverse environment, accepting multiculturalism over color blindness, ensured inclusion of minorities, psychologically ensured inclusion, both numeric and hierarchical diversity, allowing minorities to climb to the hierarchical level of the organization, not causing minorities to feel alienated are the key points. These are very important for understanding the ethnic minorities and helping them to live in a peaceful working environment in the organization. In this section, again, there are lots of the movies and short videos links we provided for you. The types of diversity can be ethical, as mentioned earlier, linguistic, religious, age-related, gender or sexual orientation based at different perspectives. As mentioned earlier, in this section again, we have exercise and practice for you, and there are some questions we want you to answer, and there are also practical other exercises to understand the module in detail. Also, there are some inspirations, sentences for you to better understand the module. Section 3 of the module, Managing Human Relationship in Social Enterprises. The goals of this section is to learn what tolerance is and is not, then building it. How can we build the tolerance? To understand why it is necessary. To learn its effects on corporate environment. To learn what is possible in a negotiation. To understand what empathy is. To learn what empathy can have a good effects on. And to understand the necessity of empathy. The tolerance means willingness to accept behavior and beliefs that are different from your own, although you might not agree with or approve of them. Tolerance is a fundamental necessity for any kind of community, mainly for developing a good human relationship within the organization and within the managers of the organization, within the employee working in the organization. There are 10 principles of human relationship in organization and managing human relationship in organization. Any human relationship in organization requires human-to-human relationship. That means human relationship is human to human. requires adult-to-adult relationship. It requires empathy, and it requires tolerance. It requires friendship, requires attention. It takes trust. It requires justice and requires transparency. And finally, it requires people to know themselves. When it comes to tolerance, tolerance is mainly willingness to accept behavior and beliefs that are different from your own, although you might not agree with or approve of them. So as we mentioned as a key term, another people to make mistakes. Here, if we are letting people to make mistakes, but it's not continuous, there is a limit for making mistakes for people as well as for employee and organizations. So these are the main factors that the tolerance could be limited under three circumstances. When to limit tolerance? The higher the human development level, if the education level is higher, then the limit of the limit for the people who have the higher education degree is limited. As the number of repetitions of the follow increases, so you can make the mistake once, twice, or 3 times, then you will not get any tolerance for the 4th and the 5th. The greater the danger of defect, that means if the mistake has been made, it creates the big danger for people or for organization, for others. So there couldn't be a limit for such tolerance, such mistakes. To build the tolerance, everyone must contribute to the peace that's trying to be built instead of focusing on the differences. This is very important. We have to accept the people as they are, what they brought to our organization. Negotiation is another important skills that needs for the social and civic competencies. A creative solution which allows both parties to have what is essential simultaneously can be found to make negotiators happy and keep the negotiation ethical. Negotiation means, and it's a process of discussing something with someone in order to reach an agreement with them or discussion themselves. Normally, at least minimum level of tolerance must be shown at workplace. It can ease work relations and tension in the organization. People sometimes negotiable to take whatever they can, and while the main issue is the meet in a middle point to make both parties content. Some people aim to satisfy only themselves, to sometimes one acts unethical. So we cannot expect, we expect people to behave in ethical way, in ethical manner, but in negotiation process, it is difficult to see who is being ethical and who is being not ethical. Instead of starting negotiation right away, both parties must be given the chance to familiarize with the environment and each other. So they have to learn to respect each other. Respect is the most important element of during the negotiation process. Understanding others' feeling, empathy. The key word here is the empathy, the ability to share someone else's feelings or experiences by imagining what it would be like to be in that person's situation or the position. A creative solution which allows both parties to have what is essential simultaneously can be found to make negotiators happy and keep the negotiation ethical. Empathy is trying to understand the other by listening to other person, being able to understand them, but not being emotional. This is very important. Empathy itself is the problem-solving tool for us. So therefore, we have to understand the people that we are being empathic to, but not being emotional. I mean, so if we could be emotional as the person that we are putting ourselves in his or her position, we can help that person to solve his or her problem. So there are the three main factors that are affecting and creating problems when being empathy, showing and having empathy to others. Being emotional, it makes people difficult to understand. It prevents rational approach to the problem. Disdain turns the relationship into disgust. And indifference, it cuts the relationship paths. So we have to be very careful when being empathic to others. Being too much, showing emotion and being disdain and being indifference are not that elements that we are suggesting when helping to solve people the problems. And discrimination as well. Empathy is the main solution to discrimination, and it is contributing factors are care and helping others grow. Empathy is the main solution, as we said, to discrimination, and it is contributing factors are care and helping others grow. Empathy can lead to the harmonical work environment and ease probable future conflicts. And this helps the employee and the manager of the organization to understand each other. Again, we have the practice and exercises, open-ended and closed-ended questions, as well as tests for you to understand the module in detail. And the section 4, the final section 4 of the module is problem solving and decision making in social enterprise context. The goals of this section to learn about problems, to understand that it's possible to solve it rationally, to grasp the concept of problem solving, to understand the scientific steps of problem solving process, to learn what decision is, to learn how to decide when it comes to an organization, to fully understand the decision making process. Gathering scientific information, removing uncertainty and complexity of problem is crucial throughout the problem-solving process. The problem itself as a situation, person or thing that needs attention and needs to be dealt with or solved, or a problem is as something that prevents us for an individual or for an organization to reach his or her aim to be achieved. The problem-solving, decision-making, and the problem-solving methods have more or less the same steps the followed for these. Feeling the problem for the problem-solving steps, defining the problem, and developing alternative solutions, selecting a solution, implementing the solution, and evaluating the outcome. Feeling the problem. If we have any problem, if we can see we have the problem is it affects our reaching our aim and goal, then we can define this as the problem. So if we have a problem, as soon as we have to find a solution. So feeling is very important. And defining the problem, what is really the problem is. If we have a problem, if we say or if we define something as a problem, and if there's only one solution, it cannot be a problem. So you know the solution. That is the main issue. So if something is a problem, then it can be defined and defined as well, and it may have more than one solutions. And developing alternative solution, which is the most important solution that can help myself to solve this problem. And this takes the lots of time of the employees and the managers when trying to solve problems. And selecting a solution, the best solution among the alternative solution we have already developed, and implementing the solution to the problem, and we have to evaluate the outcome, whether our problem is solved or not. And there are some indecisiveness of the problem. Uncertainty is the main barriers for people to solve their problems and implementing the problem-solving steps. Complexity of the problem, disagreeableness, and dangers of the problem. These are the main factors that prevent someone to solve the problems. And decision-making. Gathering scientific information, removing uncertainty and complexity to problem is crucial throughout the problem-solving process. As I said, the steps of the decision-making and the problem-solving are similar. Decision is a choice that you make about something after thinking about several possibilities. When again, the problem solving, we have the steps, creating and developing alternative solutions. And among the alternative solutions, so we have to pick the best solution that may help us to make the decision or solve the problem. Decision, the act of deciding, is defined as a choice that you make about something after thinking about several possibilities. As human beings, everyone makes decisions all day, when to make up, how to drink a cup of morning coffee, which bus take to work, where to sit here, and the list goes and goes. One decision will most probably affect everyone, including management and whole personnel. Again, the decision-making process is more or less similar with the problem-solving steps. Again, defining the problem, developing solution, evaluating the alternative solution, selecting the best and the most important solution, and implementing the choice and the solution to the problem, and following up with the solutions. These are the key factors. When we are making a decision, we have to be very careful with the decision that we are going to make or take, that can we implement this decision to solve the problem. And so when, for example, if the decision is, that decision will be difficult to take, and it may have negative impact on the problem or the organization or to the people, then we have to look for the other decision and the solution. So people usually tends to make the decision and make decision that they think it is the best and it is the easiest way to solving the problems. So if we are taking and making decisions, it is very important that we should not make and take decision that we are not going to apply to the problem, and we have to look at the outcomes of that solution. If we apply to the problem, then there could be the more difficult problem. We can face more difficult problems when we apply that solution. Then we have to, therefore, we have to be very careful when finding the best solution to our problems. Apart from benefits of participation to the organization, decision making also increases the level of job satisfaction on the personal level. Here again we have exercise and practices for you, and open and closed questions, and some inspirations for you. For more information, visit the project website www.visit.eu. Thank you for your participation.